Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. As today, with Aurora dead and the rebellion presumably put down, it's time to tie up loose ends and collect our prizes. Fate has been forestalled, the prophecy's undone, the Rycati system is safe forever, and it's all thanks to us. That said, I've already looted the room, lots of vendor trash, but let's see what Aurora's got. Oh, and we'll worry about the level ups later, once we're back on our ship. Avenger Gauntlet. Attacks of opportunity inflict plus agility bonus damage. That'll go to Abby, of course. Heinrichs would make better use of it, but we won't be using him often. Blasphemous Prism. A glass prism crafted by the cultists of the Final Dawn. It belonged to their leader, Aurora. If you look through it long enough, your vision begins to deceive your mind, showing what could be instead of what is. Interesting. Hard to really think of much of a practical use for that thing, but it does help explain how Aurora fell to chaos worship despite her apparent lofty ideals. And the Gem of Dark Vitality. Requires heretical conviction, grants +4 maximum wounds. When Veil degradation is above 15, grants an additional +10 toughness, and very modest regeneration. Okay, I mean, nothing to really write home about, but we could get some use out of that. We'll go ahead and toss it to Adira for now, until we find something better. And then we'll slap those new gauntlets on Abby. Again, Heinrichs would make better use of it, but he's back on the bench shortly. It's not that I dislike the character or anything, you know, it's more just we only have 5 party slots. And narratively, there's not much reason for us to run with him. Oh, yes, and then this is the Miraculous Fusion Reactor. I'm glad someone thought to label that, because otherwise, how would we have known? Anyway. Dar? The hallowed electrodynamic Cenobium greets its savior! Cool. Thanks. Anything else? I'll take that as a no. Alright, well, it's been real. I'll see you guys around. We'll head back to the ship, get these level ups knocked out, and have a quick chat with Pascal. I'm sure he has some thoughts after everything we've seen.
Rogue Trader. I was somewhat brusque at our first meeting, and I would like to make up for it by expressing my thanks for your assistance in the electrodynamic Cenobium. Your arrival could not have come at a better time. Unfortunately, my personal investigation has hit a dead end. I think I will have to call upon outside resources to continue the search.
You see Heinrichs' expression sour at these last words. Ooh. I suppose we could at least let him know the relic was destroyed after the fact, now that we know that there's no way for him or the Inquisition to misuse it. The alternative is to lie, and that just seems like a bad idea. That would make us even more suspicious, perhaps inviting even more attention from the Inquisition, which obviously is the opposite of what we want. You know, after we killed Aurora, I did notice her weapon was still stuck in the cogitator. I tried to retrieve it for you, but it fell into the reactor.
What? All right. At the very least, the object of corruption, if that is indeed what it was, has been destroyed. This is a satisfactory outcome.
Heinrichs pinches the bridge of his nose.
There is one more thing. The Lord Inquisitor gave me this item some time ago. He must have thought it likely that I would find myself aboard this vessel sooner than he. I was instructed to deliver this device to Lady Theodora. However, given recent events, I believe I ought to present it to you. This is an elucidator, a sacred machine capable of translating the languages of remote and lost worlds into Low Gothic. It can even process Xenos languages to a certain degree. Not without infelicities, but possibly well.
Heinrichs reveals a small device wrapped in velvet. A very generous gift. I don't suppose this thing has any secondary functions I should be made aware of. Tracking device, perhaps?
Certainly not. The Elucidator is such a rare and complex creation of the Omnisia that neither I nor any of my colleagues would dream of compromising its integrity. If you wish, have your tech priests confirm that there are no listening devices inside.
Yeah, I'll do that. Nothing personal, just can't be too careful these days, right? So, anything else you need, or can I get back to my rogue trading?
I would like to offer my assistance in resolving your immediate problems. I am aware that the ship suffered considerable losses during the recent mutiny and was damaged by the cultists' actions, and you have lost many valuable officers as well. You are in a difficult situation. I am at your disposal.
Great. Tell me, Van Kalox, you were there with us. What do you think will happen to Dar and his followers?
It all depends on the electro-priests who survived the attack. Fortunately for them, the cultists did not manage to seriously corrupt the holy site, partly thanks to the priesthood's efforts. Nevertheless, I would not be surprised if the local explorator fleet decides to audit and purge the damaged units once it hears about what has happened.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Does seem pretty par for the course. Well, if there's nothing else. Heinrichs is about to say something else when he's interrupted by the sound of a Vox signal. Someone is trying to contact you.
Thank you for your time. Please consider me at your complete disposal while I am aboard your vessel.
Sure, if you'll excuse me. Congratulations on the victory, your lordship. The entire vessel was impatiently awaiting the news of your expedition's success. The rumors about you not simply saving the Tech Priest Monastery, but actually eliminating the source of the mutiny are spreading like wildfire. The Vox transmissions from across the world speak of nothing else. Governor Medina is expecting you at his command center to discuss matters. We are ready to depart immediately. Just give the order. And with that, the electrodynamic Cenobium is now officially behind us. Though there is one last loose thread I would like to tug on. Let's pop out to the bridge real quick. I want to check something. I've never actually rescued Abel before, so I'm curious to see what that gets us. Where are you? Oh, right there. Almost directly in front of us, of course. And there's Abel. The person you saved from the Electro-Priest Monastery, the servant of the Omnissiah who calls himself Abel Hanuman, is staring intently at a cogitator's vid screen. Wires connect the sacred computing machine to augmetics inside the prayerfully bowed heads of murmuring servitors. Gross. Abel looks up at you. After a lengthy silence, he looks away and says stiffly, "The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all." Yeah, he certainly does. How you doing? The tech priest stares intently at his feet for a while, and then says in a halting voice, "The running of the binaric protocols was
bogged down and dissolved in false commands. The filter has separated the correct signals from the incorrect. The running has been restored to its swiftness.
Pascal speaks softly, as though trying to match the inflections of Abel's voice.
Tech Brother Abel has passed the diagnostics. The pernicious influence of the sacrilegious procedures has been completely eliminated. Statistically, most survivors of a schismatical's infestation are left with severe cognitive impairment. However, Tech Brother Abel's mind, being of a less typical nature, has not been damaged to so great a degree.
Tech Brother Abel, You're sure there's nothing left in there? No scrap code or signs of possession that might pose a threat to my ship or my crew? Abel's voice quivers, and his eyes dart around, desperately avoiding eye contact.
What was flawed has since been purged, but the shadows of the hunt linger. The cog is dismounted and no judgment has been made. In the absence of judgment, threat remains. Who will make the judgment? I will.
Pascal places a mechadendrite on Abel's shoulder and repeats, his voice heavy like a wheel tread crushing the dirt underneath.
I will make the judgment that will avert the threat.
Its gaze falls on you.
There is no need to frighten him.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm just doing my due diligence. There's a lot of people counting on me. He still seems very troubled.
I assumed at first that this was caused by the shock inflicted upon his system by the schismatical attack. But my tech brother's words are a sign of a deeper reason for his unease. He foresees something that threatens both him and all those around him. And thus I stand ready to face this threat.
Any idea what that judgment he mentioned was about? That seemed to be the main thing scaring him.
Only he knows. But if my tech brother fears that he might not make the right decision at the critical moment, then I will do it for him.
I've got to say, Pask, I'm surprised. In the time I've known you, you've been almost obsessively driven. Why the sudden interest in Abel?
Answer unknown. I am registering a kinship, both between our identifiers and one that is more profound. Archmagos Amernot left an imprint on all his students. It may be, then, that I see some of my mentor in Tech Brother Abel, and so my spirit rejoices and strives to keep him from harm.
Huh. So almost like a familial thing, then. Like he's a literal brother, not just a figurative one? Pascal's Vox rasps a tired laugh.
Tech Brother Abel is harmonious, and harmony is beauty. Is it so strange an urge to protect beauty from the horrors of the grotesque?
No, I suppose not. Hey, sorry about scaring him. I'll try to be more careful.
Thank you.
So any insight into why you two share a name? Abel freezes. From his Vox synth, barely audible through the static, come the words.
The naming of the names is not an index to the text. The naming of the names is the text. Abel's answers can be enigmatic. His mind works differently from ours. He thinks in harmonic imagery and notices the symmetries and proportional relationships in the world around him. Poetry would be the closest analogy to how he perceives and interacts with reality.
Really? I've never really thought about a tech priest being a poet or a wordsmith. You've always seemed very succinct, matter of fact. Pascal looks surprised.
Why not? Technolingua is rhythmical and possesses a broad semantic scope, and some of its more sonorous dialects lend themselves well to individual and symphonic declamation.
Fair enough. I guess I just never really thought about it. Any idea what he's trying to say?
Negative. However, I will hypothesize. Tech Brother Abel is seeking to convey the idea that our matching identifiers are not the key to some vital data point. They are, in and of themselves, the vital data point. At this stage in my analysis, I can draw no useful conclusions from this proposition. However, the very fact that Tech Brother Abel is trying to hint at something points to him either being better informed than I am, or having conducted a more in-depth analysis of the situation. That is useful information.
Abel, you care to weigh in here? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Abel relaxes a little. His gaze drifts to the side. There is silence. Maybe we're overthinking it. If it doesn't matter why your names are the same, maybe it's just like a label. Maybe the fact that you have the same names is what matters to someone else. Abel looks sideways at you, and at once his transfixed stupor is gone.
At this point in time, the cycle has been broken and reshaped into a rising spiral, as Amarnot envisioned.
On hearing his mentor's name, Pascal lets out a raspy, static-filled sigh.
They are connected. My hypothesis regarding Abel's connection to the blessed Amarnot has been confirmed.
Well, happy to help. So what's this? What are you two working on?
We catch the soul of the light in the solar wind. We look for the footsteps the Omnissiah left when he walked the desert. This is the oniromantic computation procedure. The depersonalized minds of these machine servants are in a data dream, processing enormous arrays of assorted data and aggregating them. Virtually all results of such synthesis are scrap data, but occasionally we have noted coincidences whose exactness defied logic. It is an extremely rare and venerated form of statistical augury, but Tech Brother Abel is adept at this form of appealing to the Deus Mechanicus.
Interesting. The hair has been removed from every servitor's head. Their bulky cerebral augmetics cover their skulls like helmets. The faces of the Cogitator's servants are blank. Their eyes are closed. Their lips are incessantly whispering what sounds like gibberish. Hundreds of lines of symbols containing information scroll down the Cogitator's vid screen. Abel Hanuman peers at it with voracious interest, in sharp contrast to his usual placidity. Most of the runes are devoid of any meaning, but you notice a few among them that combine into formula and computational graphs. Abel peers at you inquisitively, then shifts his gaze to the vid screen, and you could swear that a smile lights up his face under his respiratory augmetic.
A crystal is exquisite in clear water. Deviation from the cycle's trajectory has been increased, as was Amarnot's wish.
Abel lowers his head, and his Vox synthesizer broadcasts a binaric hymn you do not recall having heard before. Its sound is full of vibrant energy, and its precise rhythm is nothing short of pleasing to the ear, a rare thing for the language of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Pascal explains with an inexplicable air of pride.
Tech Brother Abel has dedicated a lesser aria to you. The piece is distinguished by a high degree of acoustic harmony, and is fit for use as a motto, auxiliary identifier, or epitaph.
Huh. Thank you, Tech Brother Abel. I am honored by this generous gift.
The gift is disproportionate, but it does signify a personal affinity.
Yeah, you're not too bad yourself. So I assume there's some rhyme or reason to what you're doing here?
It is how we execute the quest for knowledge, in the hope that the machine god grants us an epiphany, so that we may discern a logical connection in a mass of absurd data, which will propel our comprehension forward.
Okay, yeah, I guess that answers my question. Kind of. Thanks. Abel goes back to intently watching the calculations, his eyes alight with curiosity. So you heard what he said, right? That whatever we did back when we first met him contributed to Amernot's designs. That the cycle has been discontinued, but now has become a spiral. That does seem to feed into what you were saying earlier about Amernot's philosophy. A low, guttural sound rises from the depths of Pascal's Vox synth, as though the planet's tectonic plates are shifting and crushing each other. The mighty rumble brings forth words imbued with power.
We follow a path charted by a great mind, but that path leads to dark places. The cycle has the advantage of predictability. Abandoning it will plunge the collective into a perilous space of uncertainty, which will inevitably lead to disasters and the risk of universal annihilation. The doctrine of discontinuing the cycle may herald good things to come, or it may be a death sentence. Only the Omnissiah knows all and comprehends all. Others are mere prophets who interpret his wisdom as far as their own comprehension permits.
Right. So yeah, he's basically weighing the safety but stagnation of the status quo versus the unknown risks and rewards of forced change. In a lot of ways, again, kind of parallel with how Valen looks at the Imperium as well. And honestly, not too far off from what Aurora was seeking, though she was obviously corrupted by her exposure to the Prism and chaos as a whole. Even the worst disasters invite new opportunities. That's how I became Rogue Trader.
This statement is true. A crisis motivates a system toward growth and elaboration. The more unbearable the test, the more earnest will be the mind's appeal to the Omnissiah's wisdom, and the more stable the response.
The tone of thundering profundity drains from Pascal's Vox, giving way to his familiar sibilance. Couldn't have said it better myself. Maybe shorter, but not better. It's been a pleasure, Pask. Abel? Abel immediately looks away as if he has lost all interest in you. But then his Vox crackles, barely audible.
I am glad to see you.
Aw. Well, that was genuinely fascinating. I've never seen that before, and, hey, stop asserting dominance over there. But yeah, it's interesting to really kind of dive into exactly what Amernot's philosophy was, and to see a new side of Pascal. That was unexpected. Not entirely sure what to make of it all just yet, but I am very curious to see where it goes from here, especially now that we have Abel in tow. That does make me curious if we can collect additional Hanumans as we continue our travels. If we assume that Hanuman is like a label, it could be that it's intended to mark the individual pieces of what used to be Amernot before he fragmented himself. If that's the case, I imagine at some point we'll inevitably have to help Pascal and Abel decide whether to maintain individuality or essentially sacrifice themselves so that Amernot can return. Alright, let's close things out with the governor real quick.
Let us not dawdle.
Greetings again, your lordship. I can't express how grateful I am for your help. Now that the insidious heretics' designs have been thwarted, nothing stands in the way of my plans or yours. With Aurora dead, the spirit of revolt is waning. Entire squads of rebels are surrendering. We are witnessing the final days of the uprising. I have already signed the order to allocate 2,000 first-class Voidfarers to you. Their transfers to your ship should begin any minute now. Fantastic. And plus 5 profit factor, too. That should give us just enough to purchase everything else that Kramer and the Thunderfang were offering. I would also like to salute the savior of Rykad Minoris, and I have already a festive celebration to be held in your honor. We will celebrate your victory with an ancient custom, the Triumph. You will drive through the city streets accompanied by a guard of honor, as befits a hero who has vanquished the Imperium's enemies, while your trophies will be displayed to the jubilant crowds. Let me know once you have concluded your business in this system and are ready for the Triumph to begin. Governor Medina is positively ablaze with enthusiasm. Adira shrieks and blindly reaches for the air in front of her. She rubs her eyes nervously. Oh, for Grok's sake! What the... Lord Captain, I can't see a thing! Only darkness. Pitch black darkness. The governor chuckles nervously and fidgets with his collar. Are you being facetious, ma'am? Adira, is this a prophecy? Should we be concerned? I have no idea. Darkness just enveloped me. Bam! Like some kind of veil. But I've not gone blind, no. It is the darkness that I see. It is the only thing I see. No idea what that means, but the whole thing reeks, Lord Captain. I don't like the look of it in the Oh! Adira stares at her hands as if she's never seen them before. It's gone. Medina breathes a sigh of relief. You have no doubt been through a lot lately, ma'am. Small wonder your vision had a dim spell with all this shooting everywhere, let alone all these maimed and maddened insurgents. It will be all right. The festivities will distract you, and you'll feel right as rain again. Yeah, let's hope. I've got some business to tend to, but I'll be back shortly. Then I daren't delay you any further, your lordship. Okay, so now all that remains is our moment of triumph, which I'm sure will play out exactly as planned. That said, let's hit the pause button real quick. I'll go over our level up options and take care of that trading, and we'll be right back. And we're back. And as expected, yes, we did have enough profit factor and more than enough cargo to purchase everything left in both the Thunderfang and Kramer's inventories. And I've got to say, a lot of this stuff is stuff that we can actually use, or will be able to use later. So let's touch on the things we're actually slotting in real quick. First up, we're going to go ahead and toss the Ratobi Pattern Greatsword to Abby, because aside from Armor Pen, that's pretty much a straight upgrade. We're essentially sacrificing 10% Armor Pen for higher base damage and plus 10 parry. And then we'll of course equip the Pneumo Boots, which reduce the cost of charging from 2 to 1. That's pretty much a no-brainer, considering how often we actually use that. And as implied, we may have use for this as well. The Ceramite Stormtrooper Carapace. Though we'll have to wait until we get our next common talent slot. So in the meantime, we will instead equip this Warworld flak chestplate. So yeah, lots of love for Abby in this batch. As for Argenta, we have these, the stabilizing bracers. That grants a modest damage bonus when she uses run and gun. I did consider giving her these, the Stalker gloves. But ultimately I just decided I preferred the predictability of the stabilizers. And then after that we have Cassie, who gets the Medal of Alacrity, which is honestly one of the best items we purchased. That grants an extra action point the first time she uses Bring It Down on each party member. As for the rest of this stuff, not much else of note, but still glad to have it. And we do have Argenta's hand-me-downs. The Gloves of Endurance. I don't think we ever actually got any use out of them, but we might as well keep them equipped. We've got some empty glove slots. Now let's run through these level ups real quick, and then we'll get back to the party. And honestly, aside from Argenta, who's one level behind, this level's exceedingly simple. We're not even going to go into detail on most of it. But for Argenta, she gets a common talent, so we'll go ahead and grab Flame Weapon Expert. And we'll cap out Awareness, her secondary skill. She's not great at it, but it's still better than nothing. And then aside from that, she and everyone else gets a second bonus to their class ultimate, which we'll just go ahead and jam through real quick. You can see which ones I'm picking. Generally speaking, most of these will never even come into play, since by the time you fire off an ultimate, most fights are almost over. And in some cases, like with Adira, it will never come into play ever because her psychic powers aren't compatible with her class ultimate. She'd only actually be able to trigger it by swinging her psychic staff like a club. And if we ever find ourselves seriously considering that, then something has gone very wrong. And we're good. Base class is maxed out. Celebration time. Come on. Greetings again, your lordship. Governor Medina, I'm ready for my triumph. Excellent. We'll see each other at the square, then. May the light of the throne be with you. And you as well.
I always keep my options open. Keep your wits about you.
Your lordship, peerless Lord von Valancius. I am the master of ceremonies of Rycat Minoris. Everything is in place for your triumph. Allow me to give you a brief summary of the upcoming event. You've got my attention. You will take the road, now familiar to you, from here to the starport. You will be accompanied by your comrades in arms and a guard of honor. The body of the heretic known as the Prophet Aurora will be pulled in your wake as a battle trophy. A stop is planned in the middle of the road. There, grateful citizens will rush toward you, praising you for their salvation. Not to worry. This is a thoroughly choreographed interlude. The group of the grateful people will be composed exclusively of loyal citizens vetted by us. Members of the military, young people, attractive and physically fit. A few healthy children. Once they have said their praise, the procession will move on. Governor Medina will await you by the starport. It is also where the pyre has been built for burning the body of the heretic known as Aurora. You will be handed a flamer blessed by a representative of the ecclesiarchy. You can choose to personally perform the burning, but if you wish to underscore the amicable alliance between House von Valancius and House Winterscale, it will be fitting to pass the honor of the burning to Governor Medina. However, the choice is yours. Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, on the one hand, Valen would like normal people to be there, but at the same time, as Medina said, and as I'm sure we well know, the rebellion isn't completely put down just yet. There are still cultists out there, and they were pretty deeply rooted in the local populace. I think in this case, it's better for all involved if we just stick with the program. Sounds like a plan. Please, lead the way. Of course, your lordship. Is that loot I see? No, I suppose not. Fair enough. Alright, let's have a look. And there's our ride. Thanks for that. Surrounded by evil-repelling emblems, Aurora's corpse looks like a tiny island of gloom in the glorious ocean of your impending triumph. The governor's people must have put a lot of work into protecting the body from decay, as well as sawing off the grim iron face mask. The dead prophet has the weary, unremarkable face of an utterly nondescript commoner. The one aberration of her appearance is the many small mouths on her cheeks and forehead. They have been painstakingly sewn shut with a thick thread, and plastered over with a layer of face powder. The cosmetics transform the heretic's face into an eerie mask. The corner of her mouth is frozen in a hint of a grin, wryly mirrored by her lesser mouths. "Are you pleased, enemy mine?" the grin seems to ask. Yeah, I think so. You're dead and I'm not. Whatever you had planned will never come to pass. Not a sound comes in response, but as soon as you blink, the corner of the corpse's mouth seems to move upward by a hair's breadth. Or is it just your imagination? That's probably fine. I mean, Valen is known for his sense of whimsy and vivid imagination, what with the cold, calculating computer brain and all. I'm sure it's fine. Nothing we can really do about it anyway. We'll hop in our tank, try to tread lightly. Why are you all huddled together? I can't see a thing from back here. Glory to the Redeemer! Glory to the von Valancius dynasty! An actual rogue trader in the flesh? Huh, and who's the pale one? A highborn lady, I suppose? May the light of the Emperor be with you! Oh look, the one there is a Magos. May your glory shine through the ages! Rykad Minoris will remember you! Make way! Make way! Let us greet the hero! A small group of festively dressed people rushes toward you. Glory to the von Valancius dynasty! Glory to Valen, a hero of Rykad Minoris! A stately, beautiful, and finely dressed woman calls out your name in a sonorous voice. It isn't until you take a closer look at her face that you recognize her as Captain Raquel, the pilot you met on Rykadi Philia. Hey, fantastic. I'm glad to see she made it out. No lucky Jasper with her, though. That's a shame. The grateful citizens wish to present gifts to their Redeemer. The Master of Ceremonies' sugary voice almost brings a taste of honey to your mouth. For whatever reason, you know for certain that right at this moment, The gaze of Aurora's dead, empty eye sockets is fixed upon the back of your head. A thought surfaces in your mind, not a voice inside your head. No, a mere thought. They are all going to die, befuddled, deprived, never having seen the truth. And it is all because of you, enemy mine. Okay, I think we've had enough experience with intrusive thoughts at this point that we'd know to take this seriously. Stop. Something's wrong. Get these people out of here, quick. The soldiers in the cordon exchange perplexed glances, but their trained discipline prevails, and they turn toward the spectators, preparing to lead the crowd away. What? What? They're coming out of the darkness. They're stealing the light. The darkness is insatiable. And behind them, behind these thieves, an ineffable eye follows, watching. Ah! I'm sensing something. Boundless. Blue. Golden. Dark. Behold! Behold! Behold the final dawn! Ah, so it's finally dawning on us, is it? Hang my head, drown my fear, till you all just disappear.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Spare none of them!
And we're into it. Well, I've got to say, as far as triumphs go, this is not one of my finest. Positioning's awkward. We're starting off surrounded. Let's tuck our backliners right up against the tank. We'll try to have Abby, Pask, and Argenta clear the guys on our facing side as quickly as possible. I should check for high priority targets. There's our leader. A couple of fire starters in the mix. Okay. So 2 fire starters plus a leader, and then a bunch of random cannon fodder. So slight tweak. Let's move a couple of guys over here. Tag the heavy hitters before they do too much damage. Alright, let's do this. A shame the tank got plot hammered. Otherwise that leader would have been in for a pretty nasty surprise. Let's focus on the closer fire starter first.
Guided by faith.
Good start. Now the follow-up.
As the Emperor commands.
Okay, well, we got one of them. I don't think we need to burn a grenade on this. Oh, and there's Cassie's half-turn. I was wondering what happened to that. Let's buy ourselves some breathing room. We'll go for lightning plus spillover. That should clear most of the rear. Yeah, stairs are too awkward. Oh. Well, shit. Okay, I did not realize that Adira was suffering psychosomatic trauma. That is certainly a game changer. All right, well, just sit tight, I guess. Not really much else you can do. Except club people with your staff. This has gone very wrong. Just as well, I suppose. The veil is completely shredded right now. Which, fortunately, does not hamper Cassie, so... let's have her clear the stairs. We'll lead with a point, then give them the eye. Could do the rear. No, that would only affect 3 at most. We tag 5 over here.
Battlefields are always drowned in scarlet.
Okay, got 4. That's good. Let's toss out a buff real quick before we drop the last 2. Balance up next, so we'll buff him for the leader.
If I may.
And 2 more out. Lost a couple of enforcers, but I guess that's to be expected. Let's pop the leader.
I'll make it happen. It's as good as done. I'll see to it personally. He never stood a chance.
That'll do it. Ult on tap. We'll trim another mook.
You should feel honored to witness this.
Right side clear. Oof. And still not much Adira can do, but she should be back in next round. Though, given the Veil situation, we'll need to be careful with her.
On it.
Just setting up for Pascal's tactical buff. On the bright side, that new necklace of hers should be going full tilt right now. So plus 10 toughness, minor regen. So close. Ah, come on, man.
It will be done.
That was quite a death scream. I'm getting the distinct impression the governor did not send us his finest. Let's get tactical going. Make sure we only tag one so we get full stacks. Nice. And drop these two. We need the AoE. Rear is clear. Oh, nice. Hey, okay. Guess I was a little harsh on our escort. That guy did just fine. Second wave. Lightning on Argenta, no injury. Let's trim the new ads.
I'll do it. Rejoice in battle!
Perfect.
None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Man, I am really digging that foe hammer. Two more on the stairs, including a fire starter. Let's see what we can do here. Adira should be back in now. But the fire starter goes before she does, so let's make sure we drop him.
Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Yeah, what the heck. Kind of a waste on a single target, but good to get that guy out of play. Valen's up. Let's clear the stairs. Nice. Another light ding on Argenta. Let's see if we can top her off with a lifesteal.
Was that you? Or...
Be gone!
Oh. Healed the Enforcer. Okay. Fair enough. Oh, you poor fools. You were just lining up for this, aren't you? Alright, forget this guy. We'll go right into the cluster. Okay, not a great start. Slightly better. Now let's breach for the stars.
I will do my duty. Damn it! Follow my lead.
And last fire starter out. Barring another wave, we're pretty much done. Let's wrap this up.
Activate calculate fury algorithm. Insignificant value. My competencies are not that universal. Damage to bulk.
Take that, building! And we're done. Your comm bead comes alive. Vigdis's voice struggles to get through the thundering static. Lord, and this is Master. Please, let me send... Vigdis, report. What's going on? Then, Trimmier, repeat. I shall fear no darkness, for light is within me, the light of my faith in thee. I shall flee before no enemy, for there is no enemy more terrible than cowardice, and I shall overpower it. Argenta prays aloud, all the while checking her equipment with deft fingers. Red, black, and lots of blinding white fear. The whole city's quaking. No, the whole world. Less talk, more action. What's Vigdis saying, Lord Captain? Are they going to send a shuttle for us? Vigdis, if you can hear me, we're en route to the starport. The star... Name. Observe disappearance of the star from... Evacuate. The comms fall silent. Many eyes stare at you. Does anyone have any idea what just happened? The final dawn, Argenta says furiously. We stopped short of puzzling out the enemy's entire plan. Oh, Emperor, forgive us for this negligence. I swear we will find a way to right it. Adira's holding her nose, trickling with blood. I saw blurry shadows reaching for a ball of bright fire and pulling it away, and another shadow much larger and more terrifying that followed them. It opened its colossal eye when the others were gone with their loot. I saw no connections, no complicity. It was like a loop catching on a hook. A small terror made another, greater one, crawl out of its lair and act. That's the best I can explain it. But what I can say is that I only see death in Reichad-Minoris' future. Death, and nothing else. And I mean its immediate future. In other words, it's time to leg it. Adira looks askance at Argenta. Patience, everybody. Holy Sis here is almost done powdering her nose. A chill runs down your spine. You seem to feel Aurora's gaze upon you once again, only it is not coming from her corpse any longer, but from everywhere. Well, whatever's going on, our best bet is to get to the starport. Rogue traitor, we must help these people evacuate. The Emperor himself has entrusted their fate to us. The sense of alarm keeps growing stronger, as does the sensation of an intent gaze fixed upon you. Right, of course. Raquel, enforcers, you're with us. Let's move it, people. Jasper and I must get weapons. Any weapons. We'll catch up with you at the starport. We might even pick up some people from the garrison or civilians along the way. The sense of alarm is now almost physically drilling through your temples. The fleeting little whispers at the edge of your hearing are sinister and gleeful. Come on, we don't have much time. There's something else out there. Whew, well, so much for our short-lived triumph. But such is the way of things in the grim dark future. Let me scoop this loot real quick, and then I think we'll be at a good stopping point.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Okay, nothing notable, just a big old pile of vendor trash. And yeah, this feels like just the cliff to hang on. Y'all know the drill. We'll hit the pause button for now, I'll take care of the usual off-screen bookkeeping. And we will pick up here next time, as the sun sets on Reichad-Minoris. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Revenant, Alois, CrowkingLoR, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, V23, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you can even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.
All right. This is a satisfactory outcome.